Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Good. I think last week I gave you some assignments. Yes. Okay, let's hear about it. Who wants to go first? The assignment was to... Yes.
I found that my attachment to self was almost constant, continuous. It really was the underlying source of all of my suffering. But I also found that it was impossible to detach.
Yeah. It may appear as impossible, but it is not. Yeah. Of course, it is not easy, isn't it? Especially attachment. We say that, what is that? I forget, there is an analogy. Anyway, yeah, attachment is like the, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's like the water beneath the top. If there's a river, of course, on the top you can see all that moving. But down there, even though it's still moving, but it looks like it's still there. So attachment is everywhere there. You don't really see the role of that there. But it all boils down to the grasping of self, independent self. The stronger we have that grasping, the greater our attachment is. Because we have this attachment, because we have this perception of independent I. Because you see there's real something there, I there. Because of that, then for this I, you have to protect this I. And then if people favor this I, if they are kind to this I, then you develop attachment. When people kind of confronts that any harm done to that I, then we get angry, then we try to fight. All this arises due to this notion of self, or notion of this independent I. So if we are able to reduce that identity, then maybe slowly we will be able to maybe release that hold, that grip, hopefully. That's the goal, isn't it? Why we come here. It is to, the first thing, of course, is important to identify what are the sources. Most of us, we don't realize this. We are ignorant of the causes of suffering, of the sources of suffering. That's why I remember in Shantideva, which I always cite, which I always quote, that even though we don't desire suffering or misery, we rush towards suffering. Even though we aspire to be happy, but we destroy the causes. We destroy our happiness as if it were our enemies. That's what Shantideva says. It is all because we are ignorant. Instead of cultivating the causes and conditions to be happy, we cultivate the causes and conditions for suffering. So as a result, we end up suffering instead of experiencing happiness and joy. So that's all boils down to being ignorant of the causes of suffering. So the first step is to recognize, especially, in our this kind of exercise where you are able to pinpoint where this problem arises, then you can try to do something about it. If there is a stream, there's a leak, I think better. If there's a leak in your house, You can put all kinds of containers to hold that leak. But as long as you don't plug the source, no matter how many pots and pans you use or put to fill that, it will continue leaking. But the minute we are able to seal that, the source of the leak, then you don't need all those pots and pans. Thank you. Yes, you wanted to go.
Oh, yes, I just want to say that I am very thankful for the homework that you gave us this past week. And in my own experience, I think it's important to remember that being too humble is also an ego problem.
Mm-hmm.
But really what it boiled down to for me is a matter of self-expression, where it's a matter of, by saying these things or doing these things, am I serving my own ego, or am I genuinely trying to make the world a better place?
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
I noticed when I got caught up in the ego, self, and like you said, identifying it, I'm starting to identify it immediately. Once identified calmness, it was like a calmness washed over me and eliminated that attachment just by the recognition.
Yeah. So that's good. That's good. I think the best situation will be when you have some arguments with your, with your family members or your colleagues, all these things. Then when you sit back and replay that, and then see what did you say, what did the other person say, why did you say that? Then you will find that behind that there is always I is there. He is hurting me. He is belittling me. I want to portray myself as somebody good, somebody with knowledge, who is capable of all this. That's all behind this. When we are able to practice what the Kadamba master, the 8 verses. Who is that? Langritangpa. If we have that kind of practice where we are willing to offer our victory and willing to accept loss, our interaction will be completely different. Completely different. Especially husband, wife, partner, all this. There will be no argument. I can guarantee that. It is all because of this. I am right, you see. You are wrong, I am right. How dare you say that I am wrong? So here the important is to develop self-awareness. Many people lack that. Many of us don't even realize, don't even have this awareness that what our flaws are. That's why there are people who always say this. Everybody hates me. Nobody likes me. All the time is there. But when you say that, when you make that statement itself is so telling. When everybody hates you, then something must be wrong with you. Of course, I don't want to use the word wrong with you, but there must be something there. Otherwise, why would everybody hate you? Why would everybody dislike you? So many times we lack this of reflection. Why is that everybody doesn't like me? What am I doing wrong? Then when you reflect, maybe you realize, oh, maybe that's why. I am all the time, all about me. Some people in a group, when you meet, all the time about me, talks everything about I, what I did, how great I am, how what achievement I have, all this, everything about I. Of course, nobody likes to hear that. Maybe first time they're okay. But saying, no, I don't want to, chat with this guy. Yeah, so my point is that self-awareness is very, very important. It is very important to recognize your flaws. We are imperfect. We are born in this samsara, in this existence. Nobody is perfect. We have to accept that fact. When you accept that fact, then we are more willing to look at our own faults. So that's why we are studying this Dharma text. We should use this Dharma teaching as a mirror. What Dharma says, and then look in here. What is my behavior? What is my way of thinking? Does it reflect what teaching says? Oh, teaching says this. I behave this way. Oh, I have to make amendments. Or in the teaching says that these are the problems. These are the destroyers of, remember in the text that we are going through, what are the destroyers of our happiness? So it says, okay, these are the teaching says that these are the destroyers of my own happiness. Oh, this is exactly I am doing, so I shouldn't be doing this. I should do something about it. So that's how we should use the teachings. Yes. Okay.
A couple of days ago, we went to a play. And in the beginning, it's a monologue. The man is saying, I visited friends of mine for dinner. They've been my friends for 20 years. And now I can't go back. They told me to go away and never come back again. And he explains it's because he considers himself an expert in grammar. And he starts correcting the son. The son says, who? And he said, no, it's supposed to be whom. And it escalates from there, and he will think of, I'm the expert. I know, I'm right. And everything he says is like, I have to say this because it's right. I can't just give in to the common. And the whole point is about how he's identified that he's become very lonely because of this resistance. Having perfect grammar, and nobody likes it.
Yeah. I know of a person who has to do everything by himself, because whatever other person do, that's not right. My way of doing is the right way, the only way. So imagine if you have that kind of mentality, that kind of attitude. How can you get along with people? Unless you are staying with the Buddha, of course, Buddha will just put up with you. Otherwise, if you are living with a human being, ordinary human being, it is impossible. And then, first of all, this person will find faults, that everything that he has to do or she has to do, and then because that person is like that, the other person stop doing things. When the other person stop doing things, because whatever he or she does is not right. So when you stop doing things, then what comes? Why do I have to do everything? Why can't you do things? It's so difficult. So difficult. So that, I think, is all because of this. I am right. My way is the only way. My way is highway, is it? Is there a...
Yes.
Yeah. My way is the highway. And sorry?
My way
or the highway. Oh, I see. My way or the highway.
My way to get out of
here.
Yeah. So now we know, this is a problem. So go back and sit down and contemplate whether we fall in that category. Do I fall in that category? Am I like that? Let me think of an incident. Oh, that time I said this, I did this. Oh, that actually constitutes that kind of mentality. So I must not do that. Okay, I will resolve that from today onwards, I will not be like that. That's how we improve. Isn't it? Okay. Anybody?
Yeah, there was. This is the end of 2 year for getting all my continuing education to renew my license. So I'm rushing to get everything done, and so I had to use some money for ethics. And so I took a seminar that I wasn't that interested, but there it is. So it was about confronting racism, and the professor was a woman who, she gave us something to ponder upon, which was about a whole group of white parents who didn't want to have a whole bunch of kids whose school was subpar to come in, and they were coming anyway. And so he was advocating, that as a white woman, she would, and she was telling us this is, it's like, I thought, wow, it's like some of us might have what, we're white, but we don't think about it that way, So, but a lot of people got caught up on this, but I also got caught up because I didn't say, well, not everybody thinks like you, from another, have other upbringing and so forth, country and so forth. But I got a little bit annoyed with her because I was advocating more of a compassionate, planting the seeds and that sort of thing, and it wasn't accepted. So I got caught, with that as well. I didn't butt head, but I was revved up. So there it is, same thing.
Yeah. So any incident, unpleasant incident, if you really look carefully, there is the role of self-cherishing. There is always. So anyone? If not, we will. Yeah, you want to say something?
I debated whether I wanted to share this or not. I'm a cross-country ski coach. I've done this for many years, and I love to help people learn to ski better. And there's this one particular person in our group. She's been coming for a few years, and she's quite the challenge. She's somewhat older, and she has a fear of falling down. And she's out there learning to ski, and she does this year after year. And she's sometimes just absolutely terrified. And it's been very, very difficult to help her make progress because she gets so frozen up that her body won't respond. And I can tell her what to do, but she can't do it just because she gets so terrified and so locked up. And last week, it sort of came to a head, and she was getting irritated, and I was getting irritated. And here I was trying to do something for somebody else who's been very diligent in trying to come and do it, and I was getting irritated. This isn't for me, it's for her. But here I was getting irritated. And it was just a poignant example of how that self, that I, is underlying everything, even when you're trying to do something helpful and altruistic for other people. What I had to do in the midst of this was recognize this feeling wasn't going to go away, at least not quickly, but I still had to, being mindful, control the way I acted and act in a way that was constructive. And so we had instead of skiing around, we had this little heart-to-heart about it. For quite some time about this. And it's not only the fact that you recognize that this is going on, it's what you do in the face of it and how you respond. That sense of I, for me, doesn't ever go away. Whether I'm waking or sleeping or trying to help somebody else or trying to help myself, it doesn't go away. It's just a matter of, when I see it and I see what it's doing to me, I have to try to do the thing that's helpful rather than the thing that's not helpful in the midst of this.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah, I think I will share this. Remember last week when we were driving back, was there a traffic jam? You are no.
The way we went.
Yeah. So when on our way, we found ourselves in traffic jam. And Diana, the first thing she said is, when we learned that there was an accident, The first thing Diana said was, I hope nobody is hurt. So I thought that was really, really good. Because when your concern is for others, you are concerned that nobody is hurt in there. So that kind of distracts you from this inconvenience. So instead of feeling agitated and irritated, being caught in a traffic jam, you are thinking of the other person's welfare. Remember, His Holiness even said that when one time His Holiness was being rushed to hospital, His Holiness was in so much pain. And when he looked out from the window, he saw these Indian poor kids and all this suffering. When His Holiness saw that, automatically there's this compassion arose. And then His Holiness was thinking of that. And His Holiness said that pain just disappeared because you're focused in others. So that's why this is a very good example. What's that? Oh, I see. Yeah, so it's a very good example to support that other cherishing thought is always beneficial, whereas self-centered attitude is the root of all our sufferings. So let's say if we are so self-centered at that situation, we will be very much concerned about our comfort. Whole focus will be like, why am I here? It will take a long time, all this inconvenient. And then you get worked up. You get irritated. But your getting irritated will not solve that traffic jam. You will be still stuck, no matter how much angry you become. But instead, if you think, hope nobody is hurt. So that's I thought that's where the difference between the self-cherishing and other cherishing comes in. Yes, Anthony.
I was going to comment on relationship with others. And I use the analogy of a hermit or somebody who's alone. He's pretty much surrounded by his own energy. But they're always mentally trained. They're always trying to evolve, with their self-awareness and all that. Then you look at an ordinary person who completely lives alone, like one of my best friends, lives by himself for 30, 40 years after he leaves his parents. He only does what he wants to do. He doesn't have to compromise anybody for anything. And then he recently gets married, which is like probably one of the hardest things. I find that it's hard to love somebody who is so set in their ways that they don't know how to give and take. They're just not used to it. Whereas if you see a person who's developed self-awareness, my question though is that, are they just fooling themselves because the self is still in the back door, or are they really accomplishing what they're saying?
The question is, are they what?
Are they really developing selflessness theory, or are they just motivated to do that? It reminds me of that story of the hermit who was in the cave and someone came and ruffled up his papers that he sewed because he didn't have anything else. That was all his cash. And then he just got totally pissed off. And it's like, you sit here for 20 years and nothing happens.
Yeah.
It's like a song guy going into the cave for as long as he has and he never finding any signs. Although the problem is that he expected expectations. His self was attached to some kind of outcome, and there was always a presence of divine energy there anyway. He just, because he was so involved in his own self-centeredness, he couldn't see it. But when something did appear, when a sign did appear, then he was all right. So I just use those two analogies because I think also you have to sort of unconditionally accept the fact that we are and what we are, and we're working with it as best we can with what we have. I just don't know if some people can get past it, and some people can. As you said, impossible. I mean, Leakey, who found the oldest skull, said that word should be taken out of the dictionary, impossibility, because then we would actually know that anything is possible, not have any limitation.
Yeah. I don't know whether they are getting together, they're meant to develop anything. So it's up to them. Maybe your friend have no self-awareness that he has these issues and he will have difficulty getting along with other people. But we will see. You will find out, how their life is going on. Yeah. But of course, it's all depends on intention. If the person sees that, he has these flaws or these shortcomings, and I want to work on this. And of course, in order to work this, you don't have to marry somebody, isn't it? Yeah. So we don't know what his plan is to do, but in regard to impossibility, yeah, I think everybody has the potential. It's whether we really put effort in it or not. So just saying that we are what we are, and you just take that literally, then it's like you cannot make any changes. You cannot progress. So that's very dangerous thing. Very naive view, is that, I'm who we are.
I find that it's the opposite of that sometimes. I think it's actually the opposite because it actually allows you to get to a place where you're not hung up. You're not hung up by those concepts. You're just who you are. And then from that point, from a neutral place, you can actually get to that potentiality. But I don't think you can do it without getting to that sort of place first. Because if you have the hang-ups of not digging yourself, not liking yourself, you're not going to get anywhere.
Okay.
It's not going to change. I mean, you can try to treat it through isolation of speech and mind and body, but I don't know, unless you have the training, unless you have the knowledge,
Yeah, first you have to make the decision, isn't it? That I have these problems, I have to work on it. Yeah, until then, of course. Yeah, it may not. Okay, now let's dive into the text. So remember the past stanzas always ends with these two same line, dance and trample on the head of this betrayer, false conception, mortally strike at the heart of this butcher and enemy ego. So here all these lines, we are trying to identify what are the destroyers. I think in another line they said instead of using this, but I think there's in this text it uses the destroyer. Roar and thunder on the head of the destroyer. So here in Tibetan word it is called Pungji Tokpa. Pung means, it's actually the literal translation is one who betrays you. So we are trying to identify all these various types of destroyers, our peace of mind or our happiness. So we are identifying all this. Of course, these are all manifestation of self-cherishing attitude. It all came into being because of our self-cherishing attitude. So we are identifying each and every one of these and then asking, Yamintaka, to destroy it. Tremble, dance and tremble on the head of this betrayer. So let's go through this. Verse 56, I think. Kindu chela teju cho meso tuksin chungla dona ngamsim che pungje toben gola chemse chem tada shemeni la maraya. Though my desire for comfort is great, I do not gather its causes. Though I have little endurance for pain, I am rife with the dark craving of greed. That is like describing us, isn't it? Nobody desires suffering. Everybody, even the little insects, their fundamental aspiration is same like us. Just like us, they also want happiness. They do not want to experience suffering. That is same with everybody, every living being. But here he's saying that it's not finding fault in that. It is right. But what is not right is not doing in cultivating its causes. As I mentioned earlier, we always do the opposite. Instead of gathering the real causes and conditions for happiness, we end up engaging in negative actions, which will ultimately bring suffering and pain. So that's what it was saying. Though I have little endurance for pain, I am rife with the dark craving of greed. That's also true, especially I think younger generation. If we compare people's endurance to older generation, like my father's generation, because they had undergone so much hardship, these little things doesn't matter. And I think it's also country-wise differs. I don't know whether we call it resilience or we call it endurance. The level, the degree of endurance, I would say that is higher in those poor countries. Like India. In India, people can bear so many hardships. Whereas in the West, oh, it's too cold. Oh, it's too hot, AC. Yeah, when I live in my apartment there, some days like, it's not even that hot. When we go for a walk, we see the air condition running. We were like, wow, you don't really need air condition at that kind of temperature. But it's just that when it's a little bit cold, we cannot stand. The heat must come on. And it's a little bit hot. So that's what it is saying. We have very little endurance for pain, but I am rife with the dark craving for greed. We want all kinds of things. So that's why they say that there is this, I forget that term, there's a gap. So when explaining why there is rise in depression in younger people, especially the school-going kids, they said that it has tripled since, 1980s or something. They said that it is because of this, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's entitlement gap, where they feel that they are entitled to this and this and this. But they don't see that you have to endure for it. You have to work for it. They only see the goal there. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want to have this. But they have no idea that what it takes to get there. And then when they don't get there, what happens? Depression. So that's because lack of endurance, lack of perseverance. So that all this is due to self-cherishing attitude. So that's why it's saying dance and tremble on the head of this betrayer, false conception, mortally strike at the heart of this butcher and enemy ego. So I will say this here once, and then, remember to do this every stanza. So when we talk about these things, so first we are identifying the destroyer. And then we have to realize that that is because of the self-cherished attitude. So what can we do about it? Do I fall in that category? Do I have these flaws? If so, how can I do? What can be done? So this part, we have to think. You have to think. I'm not going to repeat that again. Otherwise, it will be a very, repetitive and redundant, every time I'm saying this. This is again same. Dota nyela tubla zundu chungs. Chaje mala kanya tarmi kyu. Pungji tokben gola chimse chim. Tada shime nila marayas. Though I want immediate results, my effort to achieve them are feeble. Though I pursue many tasks, I never complete a single one. Dance and tremble on the head of this betrayer, false conception. Here we are identifying another kind of destroyer, so which is very common, isn't it? Instant gratification. Instant culture. We live in this culture where everything must come fast. That's why we have this tendency when you hear about some teachings or some empowerments which promises that you will have attainment in a short time. Everybody rushes there. That's why people like to practice Tantra. And you ask the reason why, because Tantra is a swift vehicle. It is faster vehicle. I can achieve enlightenment fast. But doesn't realize that in order to have that, in order to embark on the journey of, or let's say embark on that tantric vehicle, you need to first travel on all that Sutrayana buses and all that. Without a foundation, it is difficult. You need to at least have understanding of what is emptiness and what is bodhicitta, if not some real experience of it. So when we do sadhana, it starts with Tongpanyido Yor. It becomes void, isn't it? And then the difference, they say that, I was told that even in Hinduism, they have this visualization of generation of deities. But the difference is, in Buddhism, when we generate any image, any deity, we generate through meditating on emptiness. We first do meditation emptiness, from it, then it arises, the deity. So in order to do that, if you have no understanding about what is emptiness, finish. What tantric practice are we talking about? What Mahamudra we are talking about? So that's very important. You need to. That's why many lamas stress this, that it is very important to first study Lamrim and do practice. And then when you have some understanding, then study. Some people don't study, and they just want to dive straight into practice. What are you going to practice if you have not, studied? In Tantra, we talk about generation stage and completion stage. What are those? No idea. Just like to use this instrument and all that. It's like I am doing a tantric practice. It is not. It is not. And if you don't use these instruments, it doesn't mean that you are not practicing tantric practice. Tantric practice is all about here. It's not about these, things.
I once had a teacher that compared the Tantra and the teacher said, Tantra is like the airplane in the sky. Lamrim is the one way.
Mm.
Without the one way,
very good. Yeah.
you can't have an airplane in the sky.
Mm.
You have to have a runway.
That's very good analogy. Yeah. So that is the case. So here, yeah, we're talking about so in monastery. When I first joined monastery, my teacher, who is already in 60s, hasn't even received his Geshe degree. He studied for how many years? 30, 40 years. Still hasn't received, because those days only 2 Geshe Dharmas are allowed every year. So imagine you have to wait and wait. So their whole year, whole life they study. And when they join monastery, they join the monastery to study this philosophical text, knowing that it will be a lifetime of studying. We do that. But nowadays, if you tell them that it will take 20 years, no, I don't want to go there. And even when we look for any courses, we will say, how long it will take? 4 years? No, I don't want to do that. It's too long. We always look for the easiest, fastest, shortest. But we want the best quality, isn't it? It is like me, when I go shopping, I want the best quality, but the cheapest. It is impossible. Unless they have a special sale. But sometimes you go to this, what is called that? Nordstrom rack. Then you will find good quality at a very reasonable price. But the problem is you won't get the sizes. I normally go to that shoe section. So they have different rates of, I think, discount. So those with the red label is the final one, that is the cheapest one. But the problem is, they give these discounts which are unusual sizes, like 11 sizes. I don't wear 11 sizes. So it is like me. So we want the best quality, but we don't want to put effort. We want to achieve fast and quickly. So here is saying that is not possible. If you want a good result, good quality one, you have to put effort, make commitments. Just to add on, it's same. When we do retreat, what is our first kind of goal or this thing? I don't know. For some people, it's like, if I do this, maybe I'll see that deity, I will have the, and maybe I'll have special dreams. You are only 2 days in the retreat and you're already looking for these signs. No, it's not. So this is us. So I say that all this thought also, comes because of self-cherishing, because we are lazy. Lazy arises because of this. I don't want to do this. I want to enjoy. I want comfort. We don't want to get out of our comfort zone. Sandro chela teshung chita chung todun chela kuto tsudurim pungje toben gola chimse chim tada shemening la marayas. Though I am eager to make new friends, my loyalty and friendships are short-lived. Though I aspire for resources, I seek them through theft and extortion. Dance and trample on the head of this betrayer, false conception, mortally strike at the heart of this butcher and enemy ego. So here talking about another kind of our trait. It's not everybody, some people who are very quick to make friends, but doesn't last. So quick, so friendly, everyone you meet one time and it's like, wow, we are the best friends, besties. And then few weeks later, already criticizing, talking bad about that person. Have you come across? If not, very good. Todun shela kudo sudu rims. And this also applies to chasing after lamas, your teachers. Some people like to, collect lamas. Oh, I know this lama, I know that lama, I know this, I know that, I know this. So whoever comes, they will just run and receive teachings. But then they don't know how to abide by this, the Guru devotion thing. And you just go there and then receive a teaching and then come back to this thing and then you criticize. So normally teacher, when you receive teachings and all this, I think I've explained before, there are two, of course, this has become now two versions. There was only one version. But because now that Dharma has traveled, and then we have to take into account of people's mentality and see, how it fits. So that's why now it has two version on Guru devotion, taking Guru as your teacher. One is the liberal version, one is the conservative. So it has always been the conservative. So if you receive even a line of teaching, a stanza of teaching from anybody, you have to take that as your Guru. So that's why people are very, very careful who to go and listen, what kind of Dharma talks they attend to. They always find out who is teaching, who is that person. But nowadays, people just rush, especially if they have published a book or they have a degree there. Oh, must go. There's a title there, must go. Never check. So because of all this, so now they went lenient. Okay, you can come to talk, treat it as lecture. You don't have to take me as teacher. You just come as this thing, as and when you feel that you are ready, then you can take it. So we are very fortunate. Those days we cannot do that. Those days, either you attend or you lose the teaching. Though I aspire for resources, I seek them through theft and extortion. That applies to some, but not to everybody. So we desire for who doesn't want to be wealthy, isn't it? Who doesn't want wealth? But then we ask, how do we make our resources? How do we acquire? Are we acquiring in a the Buddhist way or in the proper way? So pilfering, that's why I have this one. A pigeon stealing that flower. So even though it looks so insignificant, just one flower, but it's still pilfering, it's still stealing. So this, I tell Tibetan people that many people work as housekeeping. Be very careful. Don't bring back things. Those who are working in hospital. Oh, this bandage, is very good. Syringe, useful. Some people tend to do that. And then back in office also. Oh, these are printing paper, I will take home some. These are all stealing. So if we want, to be rich and this time?
Well, just thought I would just give a head start.
Okay, thank you.
You keep going.
Okay. Yeah, so if we want to be rich and wealthy, the causes and condition for to become rich is to engage in acts of generosity, either making offerings to 3 jewels or giving to those who are unfortunate. And what is the obstacle, or what is the cause of being cause for poverty and having difficulty with resources? Is stealing, pilfering, all this. So that's what we're saying. Even though we want to be even though we want to be wealthy and rich, but we accumulate the wrong cause and condition, which will lead us to become poor. Always having challenges with resources. So here that's what I'm saying. That is also why we are doing all this. Who is the one who is the culprit behind this? Is again our self-cherished attitude. The greed comes in. That is also because of self-cherishing. So that's why dance and tremble on the head of this betrayer, false conception, mortally strike at the heart of this butcher and enemy, ego. Let's have a break. Kasa sholong kela shibuk ches doso remla yuja serne ching pungji toguen gola chemse tada shemening la marayas. Those skilled at flattery and innuendo, is it? Innuendo. My discontent runs deep. Though assiduously amassing wealth, I am chained by miserliness. Yeah, so here is another of our traits. So even though we use all kinds of skills in amassing or acquiring our wealth, remember we have talked this five means when we talk about offerings. So here it mentioned 2, flattery and innuendo. That's hard to say.
You just have to break it down.
Innuendo. Okay. I'll practice. Yeah. So this is another trait. I mean, it's not all, but some people, they are very good at flattery, using flattery words. So basically, you want things from other people, but instead of asking in a nice way, in a human way or a proper way, we always use this flattery words. Oh, this is so nice, so good. Oh, that would be so good if I have this, Where did you buy this? Oh, last time I looked at it, I couldn't find. Basically, I want this, isn't it? So these are indirectly asking for other people's things. Have you come across anyone who will indirectly tell you that I want this? So that's what I'm saying. Despite of all these means, despite employing all kinds of means, we are still discontent. This our greed is always, what is that word? insatiated, is it? Insatiable, yeah. So there's no limit.
I haven't encountered much of that in this culture where people feel obligated to give things because they're being admired. When I was in China, I realized I didn't be really careful about doing the opposite.
Oh, yes.
Because it's very common there.
Yes.
Make people obligated by saying, "Oh, they're wonderful," and next thing you know, making you take it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. In Tibetan culture and all this is very true. Yeah. If somebody indicated that they like that thing, then why not going to have it? So that's why in Asian countries, even recently in Houston, when I was in Houston, all Vietnamese, those Vietnamese community. So I told them that I don't want to go with you to shopping mall. So that's what happens when you go with Asian people, and they will accompany you. So you cannot touch anything. If you like something and if you touch this, shall I buy for you? They will buy for you. So when I was in Malaysia, so when other lamas visit, so I tell them that if you want to go and buy things, let me know. I will take you. You don't want to go with these other people. Because then, after a while, you don't want to look at things. Even though you want to look at things like, no. Because they will offer to buy for you. And then there will be a fight. Yes.
I also noticed that when we lived in China, I had to be careful with giving. Because over there, Americans come and they see a mother and a child, and the child's crying, and they automatically give money. And because I lived there for a number of years, I would see the mother pinching the child, so the child would cry, so it would generate. And so you have to do it with wisdom. And just because I was there and would be able to see that, so you have to do all of these things, I think, with wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah. So those people whom I mentioned, they're really genuine. They really want to offer. But for the person who is looking at things, it's so uncomfortable. You don't want to burden them, you see. So that's the problem. And so I guess in America, you can engage in all this means because nobody is going to give you that, is it? It is harmless then.
You're always hopeful.
Yeah, but of course it counts your intention, isn't it? Whether you get it or not is another story. But your intention, if your intention of saying this thing is to get that thing, then of course. Yeah.
When I was in Texas also, we had a couple there. And they had this beautiful stone-carved fish. And I told Anna, I said, that is really a nice fish. She said, do you want it? No, I said, I've been studying Buddhism. When you see a fish at the Mount Temple, they're honored because they sleep with their eyes open. And so there's a wakefulness that's
Yeah. So now when you go to visit Asian countries, so be careful what you say. Okay. Tuso Ramla Yojan Sene Chings, and this is about though assiduously amassing wealth, I am chained by miserly. This is talking about the flaws of being miser. Even though you have lots of money, you have plenty of money, but you are so stingy. And then the stinginess brings us to pratharams. But we don't have to go to that extent. Doesn't have to talk about pratharams. We have in many African countries, people are dying from starvation. People don't have water to drink. People don't have enough to eat. And we see all this images that I think I saw some statistics. They said that in what country, one of the African countries, it's like every day, I don't know how many number of kids die from starvation. So of course it is very cruel to say that these are results, consequences of engaging in miserliness.
I have a very vivid image from my childhood about miserliness. I was raised in Montreal. It was a Catholic country, and there was this show on early TV. Says it was called A Man and His Sin. And his name was Séraphin, and he was attached to all the piles of money, and he had it in a room, and he'd go and count it every day, and he'd open the door of that room, and it would creak. So every time I see that, I hear, Séraphin's door, and it's like, and he was an awful man, and he was like, he was miserly in all ways, and made, just everything was about that. So I have this image, auditory.
Yeah. So I think I remember in textbook there is a textbook, Miser Like a Smell of Fish. This is about a miserly guy who loves to just smell the fish that is cooked by his servants. He is too stingy to buy and eat and cook, buy for himself. He doesn't want to spend money.
Wow.
But he really likes it. So he goes and just smells the fish being cooked by his servants. So what is the point of having all that wealth? So if you have lots of wealth, spend all. No, I'm just saying you have to spend in a meaningful way, because when the time comes, we cannot carry even a single penny. We have to leave everything there. And then sometimes it will not help you. It will not even help those whom you are leaving behind. I hear lots of stories where siblings become enemies because of the money and the wealth their parents left behind. First of all, your relationship is not that good. And then when you leave, when you die, and all that cause another round of disputes. Now, I was told, I heard a lot of stories, especially those who work at those what do you call those, adult homes, or those old folk homes. So many Tibetans work there to take care of these old people. Is that there's always this issue there. So you didn't get to spend it. You didn't get to do, offering to 3 jewels and all that. You didn't get to engage in charity. You didn't get to engage in the practice of giving. You hold on to it, and then you die. And then that also causes lots of problems for other people. And sometimes it lends into somebody whom you have no real relation, isn't it? Ship with. So start spending your money immediately. I'm just kidding.
You know we're going to have a fundraising speech. Everybody listen.
Okay. Okay. Kula chava chunla duyu che. Rangla kerga mela ngambu che. Pungje tobengola chense tadashimini la maraya. Though rarely rendering help to others, I remain most boastful. Though unwilling to take risks, I am bloated with ambition. Dance and tremble on the head of this betrayer, false conception, mortally strike at the heart of this butcher and enemy ego. So have you come across this kind of people? Rarely rendering help to others. They offer small help, but they will boast about it all the time. You don't like that kind of person, isn't it? So only little help is offered. But every now and then they say, oh, remember the last time I helped you? I did this thing, and then goes around and, tell everybody that how much I helped the person. In reality, very small one. Do any of you are that kind of person? I hope not. And though unwilling to take risks, I am bloated with ambition. So this one is a bit different. Here, what does it say? Although I have no reputation, my hunger for it is great. So I think this fits better, I think. Basically, it's saying that you don't have the quality, but you still desire for fame and reputation. So that's why they talk and praise, promote oneself. There are people who promote oneself all the time. So this is problem. This all, okay, back to this thing point is that all because of self-cherishing attitude. So we are again identifying all these manifestations of self-cherishing attitude and then requesting Yamantaka to destroy it. I think that's enough for this one. Lobe mala tamzi kurshi chung, loma mala pendo jongren chung. Punji tobe ngola chemsenshi tada shemeni la maraya. Though I have many teachers, my capacity for pledges remain weak. Though I have many students, my patience and will to help are scant. Dance and trample on the head of this betrayer, false conception, mortally strike at the heart of this butcher and enemy ego. So this is both to the guru as well as to the students. Lobemala. So some people, we have this tendency that, as I mentioned before, we chase after teacher. When we hear that there is a Lama giving this talk, that talk, we will go and attend. We have so many teachers, but the capacity to keep our pledges or our vows remain weak. So that's why it is better those who have difficulty keeping their pledges. It is better to have fewer teachers rather than many. Those who have the capability to keep their vows or, that commitment, guru commitment, then it is okay. But if you are not that kind of person, then it is more dangerous than, receiving that teaching. Of course, these are strictly speaking that from that conservative view, that when you receive a teaching, then you have to take that teacher as your guru. So this is all coming from that standpoint. So from that standpoint, if you attend many teachings of different teachers, they become your teachers. Then it is difficult to view that teacher as your guru. We have difficulty even taking one person as our own teacher. Forget, having, viewing tens or 20s as our guru. So this is more of a cautioning that we have to be very careful. Remember in Lamrim, before we decide on a teacher, you have to examine the teacher's quality. at least for several years. It talks about 12 years, at least 7 years. Only then when you feel that that is a teacher, a qualified teacher, only then you take that person as your guru. So likewise, the teacher also should take those students, whom you feel that they are genuine and they have this real interest in Dharma. And teacher is also advised to examine the student for years before they really take them as your students. But nowadays, time has changed. And the teacher, here it says, though I have many students, my patience and will to help are scant. So the teacher's main concern, priority, is really to help the students. So if your concern is to help the patient, help the student, so you need to have the patience, because you may come across all kinds of students. Some are slow learners, some are fast learners, but you need to have the patience accordingly. So when we lack all this, it is again back to the self-cherishing attitude. We just want to collect students. Then you can say that, I have hundreds and hundreds of students. I have hundreds of people coming to my classes. It's all about reputation. And from student side, also sometimes, this is my guru. You started to list those who are famous. His Holiness is my teacher, and this is my teacher. This one, that's a great, is the abbot, is the, the Gandantiva, or this, the head of this and that, is my teacher. I am his student. So behind that, what the person is promoting. I am important because I am associated with that popular, that famous person. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell me a liberal view rather than a conservative view on that?
You don't like the conservative view, is it?
No, I'm not.
No, I'm just saying.
But
so,
then again, I'm neutral.
Yeah. So liberal view is that, you don't have to take the person, whomever you are receiving teaching as your guru until you decide to take him as your guru. So in this that's why I stress this in my class before. You don't have to take me as your teacher because you don't know me. Yeah. So you can come to class, you can listen to my talks, treat it as a lecture or whatever, just a talk. And then when you are ready, you feel that, I am ready to be his student, then you can just, either you can request the Lama, or you can just mentally say, okay, I'm going to take him as my teacher. So when you take that person as your guru, of course there is special connection created. Because of that, it says that there is a blessing that you will receive through. So that's the liberal view.
I have a question here. It's slightly off, but I've been wondering about that. Teachers come and go really a lot.
Yeah.
So that leaves us, students. Kind of, let's say you have one, and it's long gone, and then there's all these other ones. Where's your guru? Can you consider one that's gone still as your guru?
Gone means human is not in the locality. Right. Yeah, of course you still your guru. You have guru. Yeah. That person is still your guru. That's why we have something called calling guru from afar. Sorry, I'm checking this.
No, that's okay. That's what I needed to hear. Thank you.
Yeah. Though eager to... Okay, let me read the Tibetan first.
Just really quick, what if they die? So that's if they leave the country, but like, what if they die?
You're still their guru.
Okay.
You can still make requests to your gurus, include in your meditation. Yeah.
Because their consciousness is not gone.
Yeah.
So it's basically the same idea.
It's still there. Remember when Milarepa, Marva is gone, but every now and then he calls upon Marva and Marva appears. Those are the great beings. So, of course, when you have real devotion, this thing, they will appear. So when Milarepa was doing meditation, sometimes, he was so discouraged. So the meditation is not going as he hoped. And then he will be a bit of in despair. And then he call upon his guru. And then guru will appear and then give special instructions. That's how he was able to perfect his meditation. Kelang chela pembe nyamlin chung nyamba chela tangna hande tel pungji tobe ngola chemse chem. Though eager to make promises, I remain weak in actual assistance. Though my fame may be great, when I am propped, even gods and ghosts are appalled. Dance and trample on the head of this betrayer, false conception, mortally strike at the heart of this butcher and enemy, ego. So this one, Kelang Chela Pembe Nyam Linchung. So this basically talking about how little we practice. We have taken so many vows, so many pledges. When we receive empowerment, most of us have received empowerment. There is this Bodhisattva vows involved. There is Tantric vows involved. But how many of us really keep these vows? Very few. And we have been studying all this. We have studied Lojong, we have studied Lamrim. We have studied many texts. Whenever there is Lama here, especially those great Lamas, we go and attend the teachings. But how much have we applied? How much have we practiced? That one, very easy. We can ask ourselves, am I the same person? Have I changed since then? When I first came to Kachuling, have I changed in a positive way? Have I become a better person? Or am I the same self-centered old person? Have I been able to do something about my anger? Do I get angry easily nowadays compared to the first time I came to Kachuling? You ask these questions and then answer is there, staring at you. Yeah, I'm the same person. Yes, intellectually, I have gained knowledge. I know a lot more. I'm more scholarly. If you ask me to list number of things in Buddhist terminology, yes, I can. But how much has that gone in? So this is what it is talking about. We are eager to take all these pledges, but we lack in actual practice. Nyamba chela tangna hante tel. This is very true. Like, we may be very popular. Let's say a Lama. So much fame, so much famous. But when we really probe inside our own conduct, our own practice, our own way of thinking, you said that even demons, is it? Ghosts. When I'm probed, even gods and ghosts are appalled. To that extent, not just human, even those ghosts are appalled. Ghosts are normally considered having such a negative mind and all that. But even they were shocked that, you have that kind of thought, you have that kind of attitude. So even though a lama or whoever, when you look at him appearance-wise, is like me. I sit here, I talk as if I have so much practice. But if I probe myself, this is exactly. Ghosts will be appalled. Is living a hypocritic, what's that? Hypocritic life, is it? You say one thing, you do other. You do another. So this is, even though you have fame, you are very popular, but if you have no practice, then it is so sad, so unfortunate. So this is all also because of self-cherishing attitude, this ego thing. So that's why it's a mortally strike at the heart of this butcher and enemy ego. So as I mentioned in the beginning, so all this, how to practice is read this and then reflect and see whether you fall in that category or not. If you fall in that category, think about improving yourself. That's the whole purpose, going through this. Otherwise, it won't help anything. Those young people, when you want to go to apply jobs, you cannot say it in your CV, in your resume. Oh, I have studied this, what's this called? Wheel of sharp weapons. Nothing. It won't improve your resume. But if this is mainly to apply, if we do this, definitely, just the immediate in the family relationship will definitely improve. That I can guarantee. If we really work towards reducing this self-centered attitude, definitely our relationship will improve. First, we start with the relationship in the family. There will be less arguments, then more of a, accommodation of others' wish. That will improve the relationship. And then you extend that to your family, the neighbors, your friends, slowly at workplace. Then you will be happier. Everywhere you go, there's joy. There's no this feeling of dread. When you are not liked at the workplace, you dread going to the workplace because you know that you are not popular. You know that people don't like you. But if you change that, people will definitely like you. There is no reason they will not like you. Everybody will be like, oh, what happened to this person? Oh, we miss him. We miss her. That happens. But if you are a nasty person, oh, what a relief. He left. We say that, isn't it? He is no longer with us. It's like people will release this sigh of relief. It is so sad. But if you are a good person, always helpful, always caring, always concerned about others, people will appreciate you more.
Well, there's another thing too, is that it gives us, to follow this, it gives us to feel happier.
Yeah, definitely.
Ourselves,
definitely. Yes, yes.
Let's stay outside, but
definitely.
inside it just feels, whoa.
Yeah.
It changes the alchemy. It changes forever. It's like it just elevates us, and we feel happy.
Yeah. So mentally happy, your health will improve. There is this mind and body relationship. You will be happier, less stress. Stress is the major cause of health problems nowadays. So less stress, more happy, good health, better health. So good. But all this has to come after reducing this self-centered attitude. If you still hold strongly on this view, this attitude, then all these other things will be very hard, if not at all, to happen. Toja chungla tongge bekamche longja chungla mito kula to pungji tokbengola chimse chim tada shemeningla maraya. Though I am weak in learning, my temerity for empty words is great. Though slight in scriptural knowledge, I meddle in all kinds of topics. Dance and trample on the head of this betrayer, false conception, mortally strike at the heart of this butcher and enemy ego. So this is also in relation to, though I am weak in my learning, in order to help others, in order to teach, you need to be what you call academically, what is the word? Academically efficient, proficient, yeah. So you have to study, basically. You should have studied all, or not all, actually lots of things. But he's saying that sometimes you don't know much, but you portray as you know a lot. Some people, when you meet and talk, just from the way they talk, you can see that they are portraying themselves as a great scholar. The way they talk, the words they use. So where is this coming from? Self-cherishing attitude. You want to promote yourself. You want to look good in the eyes of others. You don't want to look, what you call, infinite or inferior or, no knowledge or all this. You want to show that you are intelligent. You are intellectually, capable of things. So that's the saying. Even though we don't know much, but we portray. Though slight in spiritual knowledge, I meddle in all kinds of topics. So this one, in order to, when we talk about academically, what is that word now? Academically proficient. Okay. You need to have all these, when you call this scripture, you need to have all these, seeing these texts, scriptures. But many of us, we lack this knowledge. But then, we try to teach all kinds of topics because we want to show that we are great scholars.
The great scholars will not do that, actually.
Yeah, the great scholars, those real scholars, they will always say, I don't know much.
Right.
I don't know much.
Right.
But if you let him speak, he will talk. He knows a lot. I remember one time, there was this newly appointed, the government, the Ministry of Religious and Cultural Affairs. So he was a former monk, great scholar. Then he went into politics and he became the minister or at that time maybe he is the main prime minister or something. So he came to give a talk and he started by saying that I'm asked to talk about politics. And he says this chapsi, Tibetan word for politics is chapsi. I was asked to talk about politics, this chapsi, and he said, I don't know anything about it. And then he went on and went on. Wow, so profound. Just these 2 words, he spent, I think, quite a lot of time just explaining. So when you are great scholars, you always try to hide your quality. Remember we talk about the Nyama Tongba Gobang To, the grain, the harvest, which has all those grains, always bends down because there's this weight. Those has no much grain are standing so high. And then it's like the empty tin, those barrels. If it is full, if you fill that up with stones, and if you roll it, it hardly makes a sound. But if you have 3-4 stones in there, and if you roll that down, Clong, 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 clong. It makes a lot of noise. This is exactly the same.
Tibetan scholars tend to do that, but I've encountered as a PhD student who's like my mentor was the head of the department. And one time I remember asking him something, and he would say, although he knew more than the average person at all about it, he would say, I don't know anything about it. Go ask Mike Sharada.
Oh, I see.
So it's like, so it was great for me to know to do that because I was teaching a class where I was like 3 weeks ahead of my students, and so it was like it's okay, to say you don't know when that's the case. But because even he knew a lot, would be an example.
Yeah, so I told you this story before. So when Lama came to teach at Atlanta Center, so this Lama, being Tibetan, so when he is asked, he will say, oh, I don't know much about it. So he was told, please, Rinpoche, stop saying that. In the West, you cannot say you don't know. You must say, I know. Otherwise, people will take it literally and they will really think that you don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Because I saw that it's not just there's a true value of that. It was coming from somebody who knew more than most.
Yeah. So that requires training, isn't it? When we know, even when we don't know, we cannot say I don't know. We have to mumble something, isn't it? So that's why we have someone actually, a friend. So whatever you ask him, he will give an answer. So that's why he says that in his dictionary, the word that I don't know does not exist. Whatever you ask, the person will say something. So in order to be able to say I don't know, you need some kind of, humility to take that. People have difficulty saying that word, I don't know. They must show, because it's like, if I say I don't know, it's like I will look weak and inferior and low in intellectual, all these kind of assumptions. So I think that to be able to say I don't know is such a, great, I would say that you need to have low self-cherishing attitude. I wonder whether if you do a research, just a correlation between, those who tend to say no and those, say I know all the time, and then you compare that with their self-attitude, the self-cherishing attitude, whether there is a positive correlation or not. Maybe there is. There will be another research topic. Okay, let's stop here.
We should say the dedication prayers, as always. And we begin with the first verse of the short mandala offering on page 4, and then continue with concluding prayers on page 6.